start. And as we're going to talk today about mental health, and these links directly to emotions, and you know that one of the practices here is just to ask people how they are, not only what they did today or what are their goals, but also how they are. So before we introduce the topic, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. So please keep in mind that this is like a professional scale of measuring people's mood. So look closely at this is sourced from the medieval paintings, and just put in the chat the information. Which of these cards are you today regarding your moods and feelings? And maybe a little bit of explanation to that. So if you pick any of these faces, why is that? And I know maybe now you wonder, come on, I just linked to like a very professional training and consulting company. What is it? Well, this is the way. So let me see what are the answers. Okay, so I can see the numbers only for now, but there's number 3. So some of you are probably reading some books or reviewing materials. Number 1 is Seville, I feel you. Number 6 is a cat that is concerned, I guess. Number 4, yeah, Robert, home office vibe is definitely that, around number 4. Hmm? We do have also number 9. So people are sleepy here. I hope that yet you will manage to listen to us at least. Uh-huh. Okay. Number 4. So something in hand to do. Yes, I guessed it might be the reality. So number 4, chilled and pushing the mouse from here to here. Yep. Uh, so like a dream day, right? So if I'm going to share also my mood today, I feel something in between of number 8, because I guess I'm going to entertain you somehow today. And also number 2, at least my wife asked me to feel like that I'm going to make it. But honestly, number 5 is somewhere lurking in the depths of my mind today, as I am very happy that we can meet today and talk about a very serious topic. So we are going to tackle the topic of mental health today. And as we are here as leaders and HR professionals, let's talk about what we can do about it and how to better understand this area. And also, I want to share with you, because I don't know if you know, but it is already 20th meeting of this webinar. So there's like a little celebration today afterwards, probably, at least in Hungary. So let me share with you the wonderful company that I'm representing today. So here you can see a very handsome picture of our CEO, Zsolt Pozvaj, also present here. And also you can see a map with different countries, so you can find yourself somewhere there. These like more green areas are the countries where we have offices already, and the lighter ones are the ones that we are still working on, but our services are available there. So as a multinational company, we also get a lot of different projects and very different cultures and backgrounds. And as you can see, I just try to woo you with these numbers. So I hope you are impressed, as we are impressed. For 30 years already, we are operating in a business, having 18 countries and many different particular projects and clients and obviously participants. So here you can also see some of the logos of our customers. Yet obviously there's more. So from this perspective, let's see how we can utilize this experience and also utilize your presence here as you are working from a very different parts of the world. So we are going to share some views and experiences, obviously, on the topic. We have also wonderful guests today. Yet, if you can and if you will, you can also comment all the topics on the chat during that. So you can even have like a discussion going on. Just try to utilize our presence here in this multinational community. So, about myself, I'm going to say just a few words, just not to be anonymous. So, my name is Marcin Kraszewski. I'm a consultant and a trainer in Devlon, Poland. So, I'm linking from Warsaw today. Yet, this is not the place that I'm living in. I'm living in a very far, small village. So, again, perhaps for the online working and remote work. And before Develor, as it was like a previous life, I was working in a pharmaceutical company in communication. I was working as a spokesperson, but now I'm fulfilling my dream of connecting biology experience and psychology. Just finger crossed for me defending my thesis this month. So I'm just connecting these two words of understanding how our body works and how our psychological mechanisms work in order to be better at work, to be more comfortable, to be more effective, and just understand the situation better. Apart of that, I'm also working on the concept of emotions at work, which is basically what I just said. Also, I'm leading Avengers. This is like a men's support group. And also, I'm having already my own patients. So I'm consulting people about their issues regarding work, but not only. So this is the experience that I can bring to the table today. So before we go any further, let's just be absolutely clear what we are going to talk about. So if we are talking about the mental health, it is composed of these three elements. So we can talk about the emotional well-being, so how we are able to just recognize, regulate, and manage our own emotions. There is this psychological side. So basically, how do I perceive myself and reality around me? Uh, what views do I have? What outlook do I have about my life, about my future, and my goals? And also, this social part is very important, and it is needed for us to be healthy. So, if I'm able to connect with others and if I have this sense of belonging, these three elements are crucial to say that we are mentally healthy. Yet, as any kind of health, it is not stable. So, for all of us, there are ups and downs. But as soon as they are able to just equalize to the average level, everything is fine. But you know that from time to time, this change can be too significant. So I'm going to share with you some numbers regarding the topic, even though I sense that I do not need to convince you that this topic in a business nowadays is more and more important. So if we look at different reports, we can see that regarding European Union and United Kingdom, 46% of employees experience some kind of emotional or psychological problems. Yet only 1 in 2 seek professional help. That means that half of these people are untreated and without a professional support. If we look at the results for the business, why this topic can be important for any kind of a CEO, we can see here what large number of money is wasted and lost because of that situation. So if I look correctly, it is calculated from the 38 countries together, 37, sorry, European countries together with United Kingdom, which means it's around 4% of GDP. Scary. And the last part that I'm going to say is actually something that directly concern us as HR professionals, consultants, trainers, and leaders because of the stigma. So probably you can observe in your region, in your country, that it changes rapidly along previous years and months, especially after the pandemic. Yet still, more than a half people are concerned that if they will share any details about their struggles, it will negatively affect their career. They can even lose their job, or at least they can be just picked and laughed at. So this is probably one of the important roles for us to create this kind of a environment when talking about these pretty normal things, like any kind of other issues or diseases, is just normal. But in order to bring it to even more personal level, I decided to share additional detail about myself. So even though as I said, for 10 years now, I'm working professionally with groups, and my main topic of focus is emotional well-being, psychological side of the business, and how we can utilize this kind of knowledge in order to just thrive. I have experienced a clinical burnout. So even though I just love my work, and I loved my work before as well, I was just pushing myself too far, and I didn't notice that I already crossed the border. I just crossed the limit, and it ended quite scary for me and my family. As for 3 months, because of several different just somatical issues, I was just unable to perform. I was unable to work. So for 3 months, I had such an intense brain fog that my IQ basically dropped down to the temperature, room temperature, right? So it was scary. Yet I've used this experience to understand better that even if you are working professionally, or even if you know a lot about the topic, still it can happen, especially and even if you are very convinced, and if you are committed, it can also happen to you. And I'm not sharing that to scare you, just to share this thought of a Polish professor, Ms. Irena Pospieszil, who said about this Atlas syndrome, that usually people who are breaking are not soft, are not weak. We are breaking because we are strong too long. So this is maybe a thought that I have in mind, thinking about the mental health issues at work, for us to be able to really see it coming and be able to also prevent it from happening, if only it is possible. So today we are going to focus on what actually we can do about it as HR professionals and leaders. So let me show you what is in plan for today's meeting. So we have three main topics today. The keynote for today is the award-winning mental health and diversity and inclusion project, which will be presented together with our lovely guest. So it will come in a minute. Then we are going to invite even more fantastic guests to the panel discussion. So please let me introduce them as we are going to start the panel. And at the end of this meeting, we are inviting you also to join one of three thematic breakout rooms in which we are going to share some details about our approach and certain programs. Regarding some rules here, what I can mention, for sure, we are going to follow the rule of one mic on. So this is this podium, meaning also, if only it is possible for you, please turn on your camera, because thanks to that, we are going to see how many of us are here, and also it's always great to just see our faces. And fun fact, there is a study saying that if we have our camera on during an online meeting, then we are more focused, and we are also taking more insights from the meeting itself. So it is not only for the sake of others on the other side, but for our sake as well. And also, if we have our cameras on, it means we are able to communicate better and come to the agreement quicker. So especially if you have like a tough conversation to have online, then please just turn on your camera, because it will allow another party to understand your intentions better based on this micromimical side of our faces. I can see that I do not need to remind you about muting your mics, so thank you very much for that. I already mentioned that the chat is just for you, so use it as a floor for your discussions, questions, remarks, and insights. And another thing, a very important one, recent study says that coffee is not losing any kind of a magnesium from our body. We can lose just some water, so it's great to drink a glass of water for any cup of coffee, and we can drink as much as even 6 portions of coffee every day, and it will actually make our brain healthier. So it shows some kind of a preventive effect on neurodegenerative diseases. So yes, we are entitled to the coffee. So thank you very much for this short introduction. I hope everything is clear now. So let me just free the stage for our lovely guest, Cheika from Nestle, and Mariczka accompanying her. So Mariczka, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. Of course, a little bit excited because today we want to share for the first time the project which we made together with our partners and share the story of it. So give me a second to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So we usually start this topic with this kind of an anecdote we have saying, I like when people ask me how I feel, it means it's not obvious from the way I look. And it's both sad and both funny, but that's reality. And the whole story starts back in summer 2022. So I deliberately chose this picture to illustrate how we felt. And it's not only about people, individuals, but about business leaders, about HR leaders, because we didn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We didn't know how to tackle it. We didn't know what to do. So one of our partners approached us, and of course, it was obvious that mental health was one of the huge, biggest issues for businesses. And we all understood that probably nobody in Ukraine gonna be healthy, I mean, mentally. And we knew it's gonna be difficult. We knew that it will, of course, influence all of us, and we have to do something about it. So this is basically a moment when I'm introducing myself as a person being in the middle of the whole story, right? My name is Mariana, and I'm a managing partner in Develor Ukraine and Develor Central Asia. So I'm here to share some of my probably personal story as well, and the project we did together, being in this extreme situation, right? So the project we're talking about was delivered together with a very well-known company, Nestle. And I would like to introduce my partners who are here today. And I wanted before doing that, I wanted just to underline the complexity of the requests we received. I remember, again, summer 2022, they're saying, look, we understand that the war period and post-war period are going to be challenging, right? We understand that it's not going to be easier. So we, as a company, we realized that we need to make resilience and caring about mental health of our people a part of our DNA, our competitive advantage, that we are resilient, flexible, strong, and we can cope with it. This is why we want to have this complex approach. We want to measure, we want to know how people feel and what to do specifically to support them. And it was actually one of the most interesting requests I ever received in my professional career. So here, I would like to introduce my partner, Christina Chaika. She's head of talent. And Christina, the stage is yours to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about the company you work in.
Thank you, Mariana. Hello, dear partner, colleagues, guest of this event. Yes, my name is Christina Chaika. I'm a head of talent for Ukraine Moldova hub of the Southeast European market with the 12 years of experience at Nestle. I have worked in various HR areas, I don't know, including share service center, market head office, and factory operations. And today I'm really happy to be together with our partners and have this opportunity to share our, I would say, core learnings and insights from the most significant projects connected to the mental health. So we have learned within the last, I would say, 2.5 years at Nestle, and not only in Ukraine, but also in our combined region. I will explain later more. And this project have been really instrumental in driving our overall market transformation, this unification into one Southeastern European region. But also we strongly believe that this topic of mental health, it is critical not only for our country facing with the war in crisis, but for all existing geographies we have overall in Nestle. I would not be so modest. And if we can continue, or next slide. Yeah, just a few words about the company. You almost probably know that Nestle is a global leader in the food and beverages industry. We unlock the power of food to enhance quality of life for everyone today and for the generations to come. Speaking about Nestle in Ukraine, Nestle has been operating here already for the 30 years, since 1994. In Ukraine, Nestle employs more than 5,000 employees and has 3 factories, as well as the biggest shared service center providing in-house business services within the company in more than 40 countries worldwide. Also, we have a hub office in Kyiv, sales representatives in all regions in Ukraine. And by the way, what I would like to mention that in December 2022, Nestle announced the opening of new production here in Ukraine with the investment of more than 40 million Swiss francs. And this is the first multinational company to announce new investments since the start of full-scale war, and is already some practical steps to ensure our future development here in Ukraine. Also, moving further, at the end of 2021, Nestle announced also the creation of new Southeastern European market, bringing together one market, Nestle Ukraine, Moldova, and Southeast countries. Currently, this new market consists of 11 geographies with the 5 major hubs located in Zagreb, Croatia, Belgrade, Serbia, Sofia, Bulgaria, Bucharest, Romania, and Kyiv, Ukraine. And the total number of employees in this market, more than 8,000 employees with over 100 people leaders, just to really give you the flavor of the size and of the impact of this project we did together with our partners.
Thank you, Christina. So you can imagine the scope and the challenge we were facing together at the beginning of the whole story. So it all started with the first assignment, like, okay, we need to know how people feel right now. Do they really need help or not? What is going on? And what specifically can we do about it? Because the company didn't want just to, run here and there, but they wanted to understand where are the focus areas and what we should do. So we introduced a tool which is called psycho-emotional screening, and I will briefly describe you what it is and what we did with it. So this is a tool to basically psycho-emotionally screen, right, the target audience to understand what's going on. The goal is to evaluate what % of population has already adapted, because this is like the final goal of our mental health, right, is to get adapted to what's going on. What % of population is in danger zones with some signals of anxiety or depression or other deviations, and what stress factors have the biggest influence. We're talking about what's what are the stressors at our working environment, which could either support our mental health or decrease, let's say, our mental health, right? To make it, which they have influence. So I will talk about it later. And the last one, so what we can do about it, right? What can we be done? So the survey itself had three parts. One of them was about basically how people feel and how they cope with it. And I will show you just some examples. The second part was about the work-related stresses, as I said. How do people understand their role and their objectives and what's going on with the company? Are they having enough information? Are they having enough guidance here? The second part is about managerial support. Do they get enough of it, or the other way around? And about team relationships. I will show you slightly later what's included. And finally, the last part is about belonging. So do I belong here? Am I included? Do I feel safe? Do I feel respected? Do I want to stay in this company? Is this my place? So those are, and we also had several textual comments. And considering the number of respondents, it was a challenge to analyze all of them but it was really useful because we saw the picture in 3D with this. So just a couple of words about the whole approach. It is helping us to see people who are getting the support already, people who are aware that they need support, but there are also some people who are not aware that they need support. Just like Martin said that they are staying strong, right? And they don't want to acknowledge that they need help, right? So, but we need to do something about them as well. We don't want to let them cross that line, right? So we need to identify what's going on. So the psycho-emotional screening first part is also using a tool which is called PHQ-4. You can Google it. It's basically one of the most commonly used metrics, which is showing us some signs of possible anxiety and depression disorders in the population of your company. So you can see what percent of respondents demonstrate symptoms or of one or the other or both at the same time. So it's really scientifically proved, and it really shows what percent of people are in so-called danger zone. What also was interesting, for example, I just removed the numbers, but just that you can see the tool itself, right? So we were asking people like, are you getting professional support? Then we were asking people, do you think you need professional support? Then we were asking, how do you think, do your colleagues, do they need professional support? And it was really interesting to observe, because people would say, for example, I don't need the support, but I think my colleagues need support, right? And if the majority of people will say they need support, well, probably you also need it, right? So we were trying to ask like questions from different angles. And here you can see we were also asking people like, what are your coping strategies? What do you do to support yourself? And we divided them into three parts for ourselves. I mean, like the scientists behind, right? So and I will give you a comparison. For example, if you go to if you have skin problems, right? You can go to a professional cosmetologist or dermatologist. That would definitely help, right? But you can also go to a pharmacy and buy yourself some treatment for your face. It would probably help you, but we're not that sure, right? So maybe it will be just supporting, but will not solve the issue. And there are some things which are definitely not helping you, right? That will be even worsening the situation. The same story here. So any kind of alcohol or other elements are definitely stressors, right? So they are creating depression even more. We also have the coping strategies at the bottom, which are totally appropriate and like professional support, right? Like professional skincare. But what we have in the middle, it could be okay, but it also can be a part of escapism or something like that. So it was interesting also to observe. And we also compared the results we got with the benchmarks according to the Ministry of Health. And what we can see is that totally in Ukraine, professional support is stigmatized. People are you can see that People who ask for help is around 10%, or well, average is like 5 or 4%. And people who actually need support is much more like higher, right? So you can see the gap is huge, according to Ministry of Health. We also evaluated the same story with the tool we have, and we also saw that our gap is also significant. And what we discovered from comments of people is that, well, they kind of consider this unsafe because it means that something wrong with me. Or again, just like Martin was saying, they were afraid to admit it because they might get fired or something. So everybody has this, double thoughts. But what we understood about it, that they are okay with having safer things like education, like webinars, like online classes, and informal support of the manager or HR leader of their HR partner, right? So it means that they kind of need help and they want help, but they want them in a kind of a safer format. So that's pretty interesting. Regarding the stressor, just like I said, so we evaluated how good the communication is, what kind of support are they getting from managers, and what kind of support they're getting from the teams. Are we bullied? Are we included? Do we feel safe? Do we feel respected? And I will just show you one example of a really interesting question. Like, there was a statement, colleagues treat me respectfully at work, and you could evaluate either it's absolutely, or sometimes, or from time to time, or never. And we were laughing that this question is like a question about your spouse loyalty, like honesty, right? So you cannot be from time to time honest. You're always either loyal or not loyal, right? So this is the same. And it helped us to see, are there any issues regarding inclusivity? Are there any issues regarding bullying and respect and all of that? So it was really interesting to figure this out. Moving forward, before doing that, probably I want to make a stop here and go back to Christina and ask one short sentence, maybe, because you were present at the presentation of these results. And what were your feelings, or what were your thoughts back then when you saw them first?
First of all, it maybe would be really interesting that our response rate was 46%. But at that period of time, you how to say, convinced us that this is the pretty sure and pretty high score in terms of responses, because it was the end of 2022 and our employees were located in the different parts of the world, I would say. But we run this survey not only for Ukraine employees or Ukraine Moldova hub, but also we conducted it for the rest of part of our geographies, for all of the rest 4 hubs. And the results showed a common needs across all 5 hubs, which are reflected in the, I would say, top core 3 messages. First of all, the results highlight the importance of addressing mental health as the, I would say, issue. The second, the findings are consistent, indicating the warning zone and the risks of our people, anxiety disorder, depression, emphasizing the need of professional support. And the percentages were super similar, as I already mentioned, across all 5 hubs. And the third one, there was the room for improvement in terms of raising self-awareness and providing mental health education, or how we modernly call it, destigmatization of mental health, meaning across the whole organization, on whole the United region. And yes, based on these results, definitely in the collaboration, we have developed, I would say, a comprehensive mental health program for our employees, because we aimed to really achieve, again, three main outcomes. First of all, equip our people leaders with the necessary tool, knowledge, instructions, skills, and I would say even mindset to implement mental health principles and protocols within the teams. Second, really to prepare our organization and to be ready and to have this common alignment of internal processes, just to have this mental health as the high priority with the long-term vision rather than one-time action, to align this understanding, what is good, what is bad, and how mental health and D&I we can translate into the action. And the third one, our goal is and was to destigmatize this mental health meaning among our employees. And we targeted for ourselves to teach more than 80% of our employees and people leaders with a high level of awareness about mental health topic overall.
Well, thank you so much. So yeah, I will continue further. So what happened after the survey, just to repeat probably what Christina said, that we showed the results to the board, and I would like to stress here that the board engagement was legendary. I mean, I'm in the business for 16 years, and I've seen like a lot of different, projects and approaches and stuff. But here, our, I mean, the board was not only kind of, okay, do something about it. They were engaged. They said, we want to be part of the project team to create a project plan. We will be the first ones who will go through the training you guys will create. And they are right now going through another session of it. So they were showing not only interest, but they were definitely huge part of it. And I will stress that without engagement of the board, without engagement of top management, this whole thing would not be as successful as it was. And I recommend you guys also to pay attention to this element. So as we said, we created this project team and project plan to not only like Develor, but we had a huge group of people involved to make it happen. And they were from different areas and different levels of hierarchy and so on. So it was really diverse and amazing. What happened next, and I will switch to this part, is we created a training program. We developed a training program aiming leadership layers, because as we said, people don't want to go to professional support, right? And they would go and look for this support among their managers. We also understood that managers are also people and they also need help, and they also need to know that taking care about yourself is your priority number one. So I will just briefly show you what three important things were in the program, like 3 in 1. First thing, we created mental health principles and protocols. I will show you in a second. Then a training program for leaders, for people leaders, based on those mental health principles and protocols. And then we made a training program for internal trainers, the so-called TTT, to basically transfer the program to them and make the rollout by local internal trainers of Nestle. So going back to the protocols and principles. So we realized that some situations, some difficult situations in our work connected to mental health and inclusion as well, are very difficult. And we don't know sometimes how to tackle them. For example, what should you do if your colleague is demonstrating emotional instability or he just breaking up, in front of you? What should you do? Should you go and ask him about it, or should you just, stay away and make him give this person some space? What should you do? And then I have to admit that we had two versions of that. One version for Ukrainian realities and one version for other markets as well, adapted as well. Because in Ukraine, we would also have some things like, what should you do if something happens to relatives of your employees? maybe they are, I don't know, something happened because of the war, okay? So what should you do? You don't have the right to be frozen. You have to know step by step what you have to do. So we created those protocols for typical situations people leader faces. And this is kind of a map, right, they can have. But also there are situations which are not typical or which are not everyday, which are not, we cannot describe everything, right? So we created so-called mental health principles. You can compare this to corporate values or something like that, because it actually tells you, it's like a compass, which is telling you, okay, like what should you do in not typical situations? What is the basis for your decision making, right? So those main two things became the core of the program, which then looked like that. So we had 3 modules. One of them was about like this exactly intentional leadership. So what is the role of leader in turbulent times? What is the role of leader in terms of mental health and inclusivity? You can see it here. And how to use those resilience and mental health protocols in your everyday situations. It was very practical, very interesting, and very much adapted to the realities of the company. And then, as I said, 3-in-1, right? So the final layer of the train the trainer story. So our internal trainers, they could observe the pilot group, so how it has to be done, and a recording of it. They had to study materials, and then they had train the trainer sessions and some consultations with our trainers, so that they can be, professional and confident in what they're doing. Christina was also one of the trainers, as I remember. So again, I'm transferring word to you. Can you please share some of details of how the rollout happened and about your experience as a trainer? I mean, how people reacted, what did they say, and just a couple of words about this part.
Thank you. And what I would like to mention in terms of the role modeling or the involvement of senior leaders into the program, just continue this this storyline. Communication and engagement played super important and playing now super important role, because we engage leaders at all levels to participate in the program. It is worth noting that for us it was extremely important to promote this program, because we set super ambitious target to involve or to cover by the program 100 of people leaders in Ukraine and Moldova in this not training, capability building program, as well as 80% of leaders in other, I would say, regions who have Ukrainian employees under under their supervision. And there is why we paid special attention to the communication strategy, to the engagement of the leaders, and invitation to the training. First invitation of the program kickoff were communicated through the video format by our market head or general director of this United region, Alessandro Zanelli. And for sure, all the NIMCOM team also passed through this program with a full involvement, with all practical cases, plays, peer-to-peer, etc. Because again, continue the story, we were thinking from the beginning about the continuation and the program stability. And for the current moment, thanks to our partners, we have 28 internal trainers, 15 in Ukraine, Moldova, and 14 in the Adriatic countries, Romania and Bulgaria, who conduct the program, provide support to our leaders with all necessary, tools, skills, additional question, and they also provide ongoing coaching support to their teams. And also, I would like to emphasize that our trainers are not only HR employees from my team or HR business partners, but also leaders from the various business functions who find the topic about mental health extremely interesting and valuable for them. And this is, we are truly proud of, because becoming an internal trainer or ambassador, we call them ambassador of the mental health in the company, it is the unique opportunity to enrich your own knowledge, your, personal techniques, and to deep dive into world about the mental health, super insightful information about inclusivity, how to build internal resilience, how to practice self-care, etc. And speaking about why we really see that this program is super successful, that this is most probably the first program that has received the most highest average satisfaction level among the all participants, with a training with the overall rating almost 5 out of 5. This is like the how to say, the assessment of the training. Additionally, 100% of participant or respondent recommended the training to their colleagues, and 100 participant stated that the program's content fully meets their expectations. And definitely we have the ambitious goals, but I would answer also, or I would highlight also briefly that this program, this is the unique product with the definitely we developed together with Develor Ukraine. It has highly successful and practical feedback from the senior leaders in our organization, because they have found this program content super highly relevant, pragmatic, and super insightful. And they have described this. This is probably the most interesting and thought-provoking program they have attended even throughout their, I don't know, careers in Nestle. And this is the feedback comes even from our market head, who has over 30 years length of service at Nestle.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we can talk for hours about the project because we are in love with it, of course. So please forgive us if we are too passionate. But we're wrapping it up. So like 2 minutes left. So as we said, season 2 of the story, it was extended to not from Ukraine and Moldova to other countries, right? Just like Christina was saying. And right now they are in the process of training the board members, as we said, and then and parallel to that, the rollout is happening. And it was really interesting to see that when we did this psycho-emotional screening, both in Ukraine and then the other geographies, it was interesting. And Christina also said that the results were actually almost the same, which was insightful for us because, you know, we were expecting that in Ukraine, of course, we will have not like perfect results, which is obvious, but other countries, they don't feel great too. And it also was a message, which Christina also said, that, look, mental health and resilience topics are not just topic of Ukraine. So, and you can see also from our L&D Kaleidoscope survey that resilience and well-being is topic number 1 for the whole region. So it actually explains a lot, right? So just to summarize the journey. So as we said, the whole thing started with a psycho-emotional screening survey when it was presented to the board, and we created a project team and a project plan. And then we created principles and protocols of mental health and inclusion, and the Leadership in Turbulent Times program was based on those principles and protocols. Trainer session, including ambassadors, including people leaders and HR leaders all over the company, and rollout happened in several waves. And as far as I know, 300 people in Ukraine are already covered and 1,000 more to go. So we're still in the actual process. Rollout is happening in other regions, as I said. And final slide, which I am very, very proud of. In Ukraine, we have this professional award, which is called HR Pro Awards. And this year, just like a week ago, right, or 10 days ago, our partners Nestle received an award for one of the best projects in the country. So I'm very, very proud, and I am very, very excited to be part of the whole story. I have goosebumps when I'm saying that. So Christina, one last summarizing word to you about what are your, you know, maybe biggest advice based on this project?
We need really to pay strong attention on the mental health in our days, we need to invest into our people. We have to support our people leaders in all possible, I would say, angles, tools, instruments, etc. But my core, I would say, observation and outcome that mental health, mindset building, culture in the organization is the common responsibility of the HR function and people leaders. I would say even more, this is the people leaders topic in nowadays and for the upcoming future, I would say nearest 5 years to come to us.
Thank
This
you
is our
so
shared
much.
responsibility. Thank you.
Christina, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. And it was a pleasure to share it and a pleasure to be here. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the event today. Thank you.
Christina, Mariczka, thank you very much for this presentation. I was amazed how engaged the people were to this project. So I totally understand why you are so passionate. So do not worry, there is still time. So, ladies, thank you very much. It's not the last words from you, hopefully, as we are moving on to the panel discussion. So in this part, I'm going to invite our lovely guests to discuss the topic further. So we are just staying with the same area, let's say. So I wish to welcome to the stage Dr. Nancy I need to check not to make any mistake. Dr. Nancy Labib from Egypt. So welcome, and I'm going to enjoy this meeting with you as well. I welcome also Eszter Kovesi from Nokia from Hungary, right? And also, Christina, please stay with us to have this discussion. Mareczka, obviously, if you can just join the discussion as well, it would be great. So, yep, quite a broad topic, I would say. I will probably want to utilize the presence of a specialist here. So I'm looking a little bit to you, Nancy, as you are working as a psychiatrist. So do you see any trends in mental health? Because based on different data, we say that there are more and more cases of mental health issues in the workplace. So do you see a similar trend in Egypt and Middle East? What is your view on that?
Well, first of all, I would like to welcome you all. It's really lovely to be here among you all. It's very impressive that we are gathered from everywhere to talk about it. It's happening exactly like Mariana said, to our surprise, the same way in the MENA region in Egypt. Burnout is getting to be trendy nowadays. Everyone is aware of it. Everyone is trying to avoid it, acknowledge it, the early signs. And it's really worth the time to educate about it, to give some knowledge, to share insights. Even, Marcin, even the trends in therapy are now having different names. The most famous form of therapy that handles the neuroplasticity, and somehow the short form used to be the cognitive behavioral therapy. Someone is interested in that or has an idea about it. That's the CBT. Nowadays, we have the MBCT, and that's the mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. We cannot avoid the mindfulness. The era that was before was we cannot avoid the psychodynamic approach of every human being. Right now, it's the mindfulness. We just need to be present. The latest recommendations for the WHO, I keep telling this to my clients, for burnout specifically, there are lots of tips and tricks, but when it comes down to, if you want one solution, take a vacation. In nature, switch off your electronics.
So you said that we cannot just avoid this approach, and that is why it also connects to the HI role. So we did not used to dig so deep in the psychological topics, and as you can see, your role here is also interesting for us and very important. So now if I may just turn to the HR ladies and ask, so how do you see your role in supporting this mental health? Because Christina, you mentioned that actually you should just share this responsibility with leaders, but is that so easy?
Hi, I'm Esther. If I may start, first of all, welcome everyone on the call. But talking about HR role or how I see HR role in this picture, for sure, HR plays a crucial role in embedding well-being or talking about mental health when it's about the company culture, because I think HR responsible for fostering an environment where open conversation about mental health is encouraged. At Nokia, just giving you a real example, that we have our company essentials, our culture essentials, which are open, fearless, and empowered. And these are really central to this approach. So these culture essentials guide us in creating the workplace where the mental health is really part of our everyday conversation. And I saw on some of the, or one of the slides previously, the company NDA, which I really like how you phrased it. So it's really part of what we do and how we live at the company. But next to the cultural aspects, so beyond fostering a supportive culture, HR plays a key role, I think, in raising awareness about mental health resources, because all of the companies offer several solutions and support to the people, but we need to ensure that employees know about this support and the available resources. And again, an example, within Nokia, we have our employee assistance program. It's a global program we call Personal Support Service, which provides confidential support to all employees and their family members across the globe in their native language. And it is something we work hardly to promote, this kind of support always, because I think it's important to have the information that it's available, not just when you are in a need, but in many, many cases, it's important to know that this is available for you and for your family in our case as well. HR can also organize training sessions on the mental health and psychological safety and encourage the open conversation and creating the safe space where people, employees can connect and talk about this. So long story short, I think HR is really playing a crucial role to talk about mental health through awareness creation, support opportunities, inclusion, and how to embed it into the entire culture to talk about well-being as a holistic approach. So yeah, I think that's probably how I would start, but let's see what others tell.
Sure, thank you, Esther. So also commenting on some comment I can see on the chat from Helena, and moving back to you, Christina. I wonder how it was possible for you to convince, or have to convince the management to engage in this kind of a project? How it was done?
In my opinion, we had, if I may say, in this situation, we had the privilege to be united by the common problem, by the common challenge, by the common crisis, because we were all together in the one boat. For sure, HR plays critical role in addressing the issue within the organization, to pay attention, to point to raise the flag, I would say. For sure, we are in partnering in terms of, I mean, with the people leaders to create the supportive and inclusive environment to really to promote this mental health and well-being. But I repeat, we were together and we are together basically in one boat, and with the people leaders, because we were in front of the one common crisis, in front of the war. That's why we were super united. And what is also super important, that senior leaders have been spending, and even now we are all together in Ukraine, in Kyiv from time to time, just really understand, and it really helps to understand the people reactions, the people feelings, the people frustrations. That's why, coming back to the HR role, For sure, we play the critical one in terms of the awareness, in terms of the organization of the support, in terms of the initiate something. But by the common challenges, by the common shared responsibilities, and by the explanation that the role modeling is playing a vital role here, we can really foster the open culture, open communication, provide the required support to our people, and really we can ensure this, how to say, perception from the employee side to be open, psychological safety to have this real feelness in the company, in the organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you say fostering, aligning, creating, just allowing people to be informed. So our main tool here is a communication, as I understand.
Yes, the communication and the explanation by the real example why it is so crucial and important involvement of the senior leaders, people leaders into the common building of this mindset. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So you also mentioned during the presentation something I noted that maybe you or Marichka, I'm sorry, I didn't note that. So leaders are also people. Surprisingly, right? So my question is, and I guess it's not an easy question, and this is for all of you. Do you see any differences in terms of mental health between, let's say, leaders and the individual contributors? Are there any differences between these two groups?
I can start if I may.
Sure.
I think yes, because in particularly people leaders, for the current moment, and I believe in the future, they will be in the double pressure because first of all, they facing with some personal challenges related to war in our case, and also with a strong demand and expectations from their teams. That's why even for us during the implementation of the mental health program was super important first of all to pay attention and to invest in their capabilities, to equip them with the right tools, resources, and give them a bit of more guidance versus just the level of all employees.
Yeah, I will just add on that because, as we said, in Ukraine, and probably not only in Ukraine, again, people don't want to go for professional support, right? So where they go, and they would go to their leaders, right? To people who kind of do something about it, and then you have this tension of responsibility on you because you cannot afford falling yourself. You just cannot afford it because people around you, they lean on you, and it's painful, and you realize that taking care of your mental health is not just a personal private thing anymore. It's your responsibility as a leader to be resourceful, and it's scary sometimes, and it creates tension sometimes, but that's the way. I mean, that's the way, like you said.
Yeah, and if I just jump into the discussion, our surveys really indicate that leaders often find it more challenging to disconnect and switch off from work. So one hand side, I can echo that, yes, it's more difficult to the people leaders, to the leaders within the company, but just showing another aspect of this, I think the stress impacts aren't limited to a simple leader versus individual contributor dynamic, because there are certain employee groups within the companies which feel the stress more actively. Just for example, teams or people sitting in customer facing roles or working in high pressure environments. For sure, this group of people report that their mental health and stress level is really a question and something we need to focus on and work on.
So one factor is the role. So if we are responsible not only for us, but also for other people, we somehow carry their problems with us, especially if they affect the business that we are responsible for. Yet also the place in an organization can affect the level of stress that we experience. So, for example, sales teams, right, or cold calling groups, they experience a lot of it. So it may be changing. And Nancy, I don't know if you can disclose this kind of information, or do you have any kind of a, let's say, statistics, but is that leaders come to you with different kind of problems than like individual contributors?
Thank you, Marcin, for asking. I was about to raise my hand. Terry, I would like to share in this part. I would always call someone a good leader whenever he has skills to be a good follower. Okay, and a good follower is someone that can give himself the audacity and the chance to work on himself/herself internally. The more you lead, the more you get unconsciously to be in the rescuer role, working for the benefit of the others, tending to forget and dismiss yourself. And what I train them when I see them in the individual clinics is about being and giving yourself the time to be within yourself, reflect about yourself, and learning to follow someone that gives you something for your own self. It doesn't have to be all the time for others. That's one of the best tools about leadership, because the more you get minded in the mindset of leadership and forgetting about tuning in to the humane part, tuning in to being a follower in some different life roles, the more you will get to be either micromanaging and super controlling, or just doing it and dismissing the emotions and the presence of others. So yes, there are more and more numbers of leaders seeking support, seeking health, knowledge, not necessarily in the clinic, but through books, through webinars, through seminars, through different channels. And that's what I always encourage. It doesn't have to be through a portal that is very classic. You just do it your own way.
Yeah, so I usually wonder in this kind of situations that most leaders are not psychologists. They are not trained to professionally support people, so they are not trained also to prevent themselves from the negative influence of problems of others. So specialists like you or other consultants, counselors are just trained to keep your boundaries and, let's say, protect your heart, but leaders usually do not have this kind of a filter, let's say.
Absolutely. What I can see happening in different countries now and in different organizations is that in certain leadership positions, they get to give them these trainings obligatory. And it really helps. It changes them from the inside. They don't just do it, they are it.
Thank you. So looking at the clock, I'm struggling which question to ask because I have so many. Yet I'm going to open this discussion even further. That will be crazy. Yet my question is, what other central HR activities or initiatives you do that you see work within your organization? And this is the question to all of you, our kind participants. So please, if you can just type like crazy everything that comes to your mind, let's create this kind of a brainstorm and some kind of a toolbox for all of you to have. And the same question I may direct to our panel. So is there any other activity other than mentioned before that you feel like is simple, working, or just working?
Yeah, if I may then start. Although I mentioned this employee assistance program, but I would like to highlight it again because we are very, very proud of this program, this personal support service, which is available to all colleagues and their family members at Nokia. So something I wanted to add here once more. But next to this, we have a so-called Share to Care employee resource group. And I wanted to mention, because when you just share this Venn diagram with the chart, what are the pillars, the social, psychological, and emotional part of the well-being and the mental health, the social part is very, very crucial. And this Share to Care employee resource group, this is an employee-led group which connects individuals who share common experiences around the mental health and well-being, and it provides a safe space where these people can join, come together and share the personal stories and offer and get emotional support from each other. So I think it's something really nice and not HR-led. I mean, we were there at the beginning, but it's really driven by the people working for the company. What else to mention? I really like, and there were good examples, how important the sponsorship of the executives and the senior leadership. We have some so-called Thrive with Wellbeing sessions, and these sessions feature leaders sharing their personal stories, personal insights and experiences on achieving work-life balance, how they learned from the past mistakes and how they could form healthy habits. And they just really role modeling the positive behaviors, and the listeners, the people just being there and listen this presentation and personal stories really feel the power that they are able to manage stress, and they can also learn some effective strategies from them. And I think it's something everybody is really value at the company. And the last one, because I would like to give some floor to others as well, that we just recently introduced the Team Health Toolkit, which is a great tool, again, to improve the team connectedness, encouraging people to talk openly in their teams, and how we can build trust and put the mental health and the overall well-being topic onto the everyday agenda in case of or in the people life. And I think if there is the trust in the team, there is this sense of belonging, and I have the feeling that I can speak up freely, then people will really talk and share if they struggle or need help. So yeah, I think that's some examples.
Thank you, Esther. I love it, especially that if I hear someone else's talking about the similar issues, I do not feel so alone, and then it will be more probable that I will share and ask for help as well, right? That's why these employee-led programs are so crucial. What else?
May I?
Sure.
If I would choose one tool to help, it would be to mindfully breathe for 60 seconds. That is something we can do right now in our place, just right now from this chair. Just a mindful breath a day. And this will take you to different steps. It's very common for me to see clients every 2 weeks, and I find the person telling me, oh, I forgot that the last 14 days. This is very common in my practice, and they are aware people visiting the clinic already. This is not the section of the not aware or the section that's not capable of booking or economically challenged. This is the visitors of the clinic. So if I choose one, it would be breathing, mindful breathing, just for 1 minute every day. If I have the luxury for them to be two, I would ask the person to do something you used to like as a child once every week, even for 5 minutes.
Lovely, lovely advice. Thank you very much. And thank you for your courtesy that we got it for free. So let's use it. Let's use it. Thank you very much. Christina, anything that you wish to add?
For sure, we again have a lot of, I would say, employee assistance program, mental health program, but I would like to also reconfirm that the most workable one, this is probably peer-to-peer practicum, where the participants can discuss and have this opportunity to exchange different challenging cases from their professional lives and work together to find the solutions. This really helps to apply their knowledge different and this is like cross-functional, even cross-location groups consisting from the different people leaders. They can really apply their knowledge and discuss in everyday situation to gain the deeper understanding, and this is really fostering the connection and the build trust between the leaders, and we really have the positive examples that even after the practicing in this peer-to-peer, like organized by company practicum, they continue how to say discussion and cooperation together in the different format, in the coaching, like coaching manner or mentorship manner, even after the completion of this peer-to-peer practicum. That's why, for sure, different mindfulness practices, different stories, personal attitude that you can share. This is something that work the best.
Thank you very much. So as we are closing to the moment that we will end the panel and also open these thematic breakout rooms, I wish to challenge you a little bit, dear panelists. So as we think, as we say, leaders are also people, I would say HR people are also people. So what kind of an advice can you give to other HR professionals, not only leaders, to take care of their own mental well-being as well? Just in one sentence, like the most important thing that you can share. I can see your expressions. It's not an easy question, and it is out of the list. I'm sorry.
May I?
No,
No, no.
because we thought that we need to choose only one.
Yeah, and this is the provoking thinking question. But this is again about self-care. If you are not in the resource, if you cannot find those 5 minutes per day or even per week for your, I don't know, some prestigious moment from your childhood, whatever, some short or long things to do for yourself, you will be not in the resource and you will not be able to spread the
Help
positive,
others.
yes, help others.
Yeah, thank you, Christina.
Yeah, and
I
what helps?
would add to Christina something. Sorry, Esther.
No,
I
no.
would add boundaries.
Yeah, Nancy, you said about keeping boundaries, right? Yeah, so usually in these roles we have these open hearts, but remember that they should close sometimes, at least for a moment, and not to become too cold, right? Thank you. And Esther?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the boundaries as well, that we are working remotely. We are working in a flexible work structure. So work is everywhere. I'm working mostly from home. I have 3 kids. So, I mean, I have meetings in the evening as well. But regardless, all of this chaos around, I always need to ensure that I know that what belongs to my personal life. And when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And when I need to concentrate on my job, I can do that luckily. So I learned over the years how to cope with this kind of 2 side of the coin situation. And I think it's very important that you set the boundaries and you ensure that you know when you can just relax and be with your loved ones or with something that's really energizing you. And then when you need to concentrate on the job, you need to be there. And yes, mindfulness is something also very, very important to be there on the moment. And yeah, be very effective and good in what you are exactly doing at the exact moment.
Thank you. Marichka, something from you.
Yeah, I was thinking what I would like to add to what colleague said, because I totally agree with everything. I would probably say that adjusting our internal level or understanding of what normal is. Because I feel, and it's about me, myself, and my partners and friends and colleagues, I see that sometimes we are anxious, we are nervous because the world is crazy and people around us are also feeling crazy sometimes, right? And we want it not, and we want to see that it will all calm down and it will all, go back to kind of normalish. It won't happen. And if we accept that this is the world how it is today, it's crazy, it's fast, it's changing, turbulent, and all of that, people around us will continue feeling those ups and downs. And this is now normal. And my internal comfort. I'm okay with this. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say, that I understand it's okay. This is now my comfort zone. This is where and because sometimes I feel we are too how to say, perfectionists, and we're trying and we're hoping for the
Fix
perfect
everything.
world. Yeah, and this is now the perfect world we live in. Let's accept it and calm down our internal expectations. That's probably what I would yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Marichka. So we come down to the circles of influence by Kurt Lewin, right? So if we need to recognize what's in our influence, in our control, what is not, and how we can deal with it and take care on our own emotions in that situation, accepting it's going to be like that, probably. Dear panelists, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights. So thank you for this discussion. And now I will turn back to our lovely participants. So we said at the beginning, what should we do about it? So now my question for you as a takeaway, think what can you do about it? What can you do about the mental health well-being in your company and about your own mental health well-being? As we said, we should take on ourselves, take care of ourselves as well.